What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about when you should sell your house. And before we get into this video, I want to say if you haven't seen the first video in this series, go ahead and check it out now. Don't look at this one because it's going to mess you up. If you just look at this, you don't have the proper money mindset. So go ahead and look at that video first. And once you finish with that one, you can come back and look at this one, all right? All right, I really want to see you guys successful. I want to see you succeed. And in order to do that, you got to have the right mindset. You got to understand how to use this tool we call money. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, so when should I sell my home? It's a lot of people selling their homes right now because we are indeed in a seller's market. Now, everyone's situation is different. So I'm going to just have to give general information here. If you have more specific questions, ask them in the comments. You can even shoot me an email and I'll make another video responding to it. But let's get into some of the general reasons why you want to sell your home. So the first reason is just that the market's up. It's a seller's market. Right now we see houses are too expensive. The prices don't even make sense. Everything's just overinflated right now. So, yeah, it will be a good time to sell. The problem is, what are you going to do with the proceeds, right? Are you going to go buy another property that's overpriced? What are you going to do? Now, you do have two options there. Let's say if you sold your house and that's all you had was just one property. So we're going to address the people that we're going to address landlords and investors, and we're going to address just people that have one house. So let's first talk about the people that have one house. So if you sold your house right now, what would you do? You could either go and rent something until the market drops, which looks like we're on the precipice of that, especially with Wells Fargo cutting off everybody's credit cards. The last time that happened was in 2008, 2009. You do the math. But that's still speculative, so we don't really know, and that'd be kind of gambling. So you don't want to be renting something for 3 to 6 years or whatever, and you done spent $100 and something thousand on rent when it could have gone towards the principal of a home that you own, and you could have wrote off the interest. So I would still say buy something else. But what would you buy? Considering everything is overinflated, well, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to probably move out of your area unless you found a really smoking deal. You can look for short sales. You can look for just distressed properties, and distressed properties aren't always foreclosures because foreclosures are oftentimes overpriced. Okay, the bank is trying to get their money, and if they can get some extra money on top, they're going to do that. So foreclosures aren't always a good deal. 9 times out of 10, they not especially now. Just give you a quick example. There was a house in a place where I grew up, and it was foreclosed. Just last year, they wanted they were asking like $320 for it, and they took it off the market probably to make some repairs. I don't know. I think just the listing expired. I don't know, because the government is a HUD home. The government was selling this thing off, and it was a nice size house. And we were waiting for it to come back on the market, because I'm like, if it come back on there for $3 something, I'm gonna offer them $289, and we can just buy that, sell this and buy that. So when it came back on the market, guess what they was asking? Like $565, and it sold in a week. Who did that? Who did that? Now here's the thing, this is another video, but you can look up and see what the houses what they were asking for previously. If you knew they would take $315, why would you give them $565? They'd take $315. But anyway, so foreclosures aren't always the move. Now, a short sale isn't always the move either, because if you get somebody that bought their house at the top of the market, and the market starts to crash. I'm going to just use this house that we're in, for example. The previous owner paid $714 for it, and this was purchased for $450, and the person that bought it, my family member that bought it, thought they got a good deal, but I'm like, nah, they was trying to flip it. I'm like, nah, 450, not in this area, maybe in LA or New York or DC, like really DC, the heart of DC, 450, yeah, okay, you could flip that, but nah, not in Virginia. Nah, that's not going to happen. You just overpaid, and because that's what the house was worth. Just because it was a short sale don't mean anything. So you got to look at what it previously sold for. You got to look at the market and see what the house is worth. Now, I would recommend you move out of state, and I want to use my friend from high school who just did that. Back in like 2010, he bought a house in Texas, out in Dallas, and he's from the DC area. And he recently, a few years ago, he purchased a house in Maryland, and he just recently was like, you know what, I'm gonna take advantage of this market. He put his house on the market. The next morning, he had an offer for $50,000 more than what he was asking. The house wasn't even on the market for 12 hours. $50,000 more than what he was asking. He took that money, paid off obviously the mortgage of the house he just sold, and he paid off the mortgage in the house in Texas, and he just moved into that. And Hispanic just moved into that. Now they sitting sweet, and they still got a few $100,000 left over. So that's how you want to do it. But again, he was an investor. He had more than one home. So, you know, with that kind of moves into that, but let's finish with the individuals here. So I would recommend you move outside of it. Dallas is cheaper than the DC area, so I would recommend you move out of there. Now, we were looking at a property in Hayesville, North Carolina. I wish I didn't say the city, but it don't matter now because I ain't interested in going because the internet's terrible. But we saw a property in Hayesville, North Carolina. It was 12,000 square feet. Right up my alley because it was half incomplete, and I'm handy so I could fix it up. And it was just a quirky house, and I loved it. In the mountains, and the lady was asking like last year, she was asking like 150 or something for it, right? But she put it back on there for like 250, and somebody gave her like 265 for it. But that blew my mind because I'm like, man, you know, that would have been a good deal. So you would probably have to do something like that. You could sell your house. Let's say this is what I would recommend. Sell your house and move to a place where it's still kind of speculative, but where it's not really built up, and you can get a house still way cheaper than what houses cost where you currently live, and then you stay there for 10 years or whatever, and that property value could appreciate. Because even though the market is high now, if they build up Hayesville, it don't matter that that person paid $265 or whatever for the house. That thing will be worth $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 if that area gets built up, right? So that's what I would recommend if you are an individual. I know you might be saying, well, my job and all of that, you know, that's a whole nother thing to have to work out. Fortunately, my friend who moved to Dallas, he works remote, and so it wasn't a big deal. And his wife just got a job over there in Dallas. So you can find another job. The cool thing about what you're doing is you're going to lower your expenses. And if you have lower expenses each month, you don't need to make as much money. So you have to consider that. Moving on to people who own multiple homes. It's just like what I said. If you own multiple homes, you just try to sell the one that has the most equity in it. And what you want to do is pay off the other house so you can make that other house your primary. Or if you have a rental property, you sell that and then you pay off your primary, and then you know you can live well because your biggest expense is going to be rent or your mortgage, right? You eliminate that and it's like, oh well, buy you a car cash or get you something small, and it's like, do I really even need this job anymore? You could do something really small, make YouTube videos, I don't know, right? And it'll pay for everything. So that's that. Now, let's say you were in both of these scenarios and you sold your home now. You were an individual, or you're a real estate investor, and now you have this cash. The next thing you want to do to set yourself up properly, like my friend did, is buy when the market is low. Buy when it's a buyer's market. I have a lot of people I grew up with that are buying homes now, and they're really excited about it. And if you watch my video about fear of failure, you know, they don't see it now, but when the market tanks and they're upside down, they'll realize their mistake, right? I don't encourage anyone to buy homes, and they're buying them in like DC and just paying out the wazoo for these houses, and the houses will probably never really be worth what they are again right now. So you want to always try to buy when the market is low. So if you're one of those people that sold your house right now, you sit on the cash. Especially if you can see like, look like we head into another recession. Let me just hold on to this cash, spread it around to multiple banks, of course, or it's all insured. And then when things drop, stocks and all that, then you buy it all up, gobble it up, blah, 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 buy the stocks that pay dividends. You buy up some more real estate if you're up to the task of being a landlord again, and you just sit on them and ride the wave back up. It seems to be going lately. It used to be like every 7 years there was this, buyer's market, seller's market. Well, I'm doing it backwards. Seller's market. Buyer's market, seller's market. Buy every 7, but it looked like we enter into like a 10-year phase now. But it always goes up and down. So you want to do that. And the last thing, you want to sell your house, and it kind of don't matter what the market is looking like, but you would sell your investment properties generally when the house gets paid off. There are a lot of liabilities to having a house paid off. There could be some benefits there, but trust me, the benefit does not outweigh what you could do with the cash proceeds from that property. So let's say you have a property. Well, the whole point of being a landlord is this: to buy a house, preferably when the market is low or at a good deal. You put a renter in there, you leave them in there until the house is paid off. Once the house becomes paid off, yeah, you're getting a little more cash flow, but you might have $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 or more in that house, right? Sell that. Think about it. If you took that money, let's say it was $300,000. You took that $300,000 and you put it in stocks, some dividend-paying stocks, and you can get 8.5% in dividends annually with the right stocks. But and let's just include a little bit of growth for that too. Let's say it grew at 1.5% annually, which is super low. Almost all stocks that are blue chip do way more than that. So let's say you were able to get 10%, and that's $30,000. So if the house is $300,000, you're probably getting up to $2,000 in rent. So $2,000 a month in rent a year is what? $24,000. But I just showed you that $300,000 could get you $30,000 from stocks. And they're taxed differently, because it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep after taxes. So that money from the stocks and the dividend payouts is only going to be maximum, and it's going to change every year, but it's been a solid 15%. It's capital gains. So that's 15%, whereas rental income, that opens you up to regular earned income, which is taxed way higher. Now, yeah, you could write off the mortgage interest, you can write off the property taxes in certain states, but you also have to deal with the tenant, the repairs, and once you deal with the repairs, haven't dealt with the tenants, it's not worth your time. Then you also can't really travel like that. You always got to be kind of nearby the houses that you own, or you're going to hire a management company, which is another fee, right? When it's just the stocks, you a free bird. You can go wherever you want, and if you needed some cash or all the cash, you could liquidate it just like that. Can't do that with a house. So that's the other time I recommend selling your home. So of course, if you want to get back into, if you want to buy more property, you can with that same $300,000. Just wait till the market drops and you buy it then. So anyway, that's it for this video. It's been long enough. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. If this video was helpful to you, please like it, share it with folks, and I will see you guys next time.